right, so check it out, guys. This is Vegan Cyclist here, and about 30 minutes into this race, I have already done a bunch of attacks to try to get into a breakaway, and I ended up going with this guy Emil, who's also a vegan, so kind of awesome that it's a double vegan, breakaway. Yeah, I went on his wheel. We got a pretty good gap, about a minute at one point. Really felt like this was going to be successful because there had already been a ton of attacks. Everyone was real tired. There's a big headwind section on this course, so that kind of is what doomed us. But we got caught with about 5 minutes to go. So close. But this brings up, when is the good time to attack, and what is the etiquette when you get into a breakaway? So I sort of want to go through the do's and don'ts, for beginners on breakaways. So first, don't be the first to go. Unless you've got team orders, then you've got like this big 5-6 man team where you can be the first to go. And then when you get caught, your next teammate counters. Don't be the first one to go. Let some people, make the attacks. You do follow their wheels though, pretty much at any time. So you can go with the first attack. If you get a free ride, like if you're on the guy's wheel that starts the first attack, go with them. You don't have to pull, you don't have to even come around, but if you're going to get a free ride up the road, I would say that's always a good thing. Don't attack if it's strung out or really, really fast. So if your Garmin is set to where you can see the miles per hour, even if you're in the draft and you're feeling really good, you're not even pedaling. If the whole peloton is moving at 28, 29, 30 miles an hour, that's not a good time to attack, because now you have to attack at above 30 miles an hour to even get away, and that's just not going to be sustainable. So if the pace is really, really high, that's not the time to go off the front. One of the best times to make a move would be to counter attack, right? So that is when the breakaway that was up the road gets caught. As soon as the guys get caught, you want to attack. That's when you can initiate attack. Usually everyone has been chasing, and so whoever's on the front is going to be pretty tired, and they're not going to be able to go with you. So usually that's a pretty good time that you'll get off of the front. You may not stick very long, but yeah, counter attacks, definitely look for those. I would say that most breakaways that I've ever seen succeed haven't been this huge snap and attack. It has been people just kind of rolling off the front. So don't hit your brakes. Roll the momentum. So if you're all the way in the back and everyone starts to slow in the front, if you just keep pedaling your pace, you'll end up sometimes seeing yourself off the front with a pretty good gap without having to make some huge effort to get away. So try rolling the momentum, roll off the front, and then just, keep it pinned and really push the pace once you've got a little gap. Do attack if there have been a ton of attacks, right? So that's a really good time. Like if you say have just been sitting in the back or you haven't been doing much, and there's been 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you start getting up there into where it's just been attack after attack after attack. It's a good idea to maybe start thinking about attacking yourself, because if there's been 7 or 8 failed breakaways, that means everyone's really tired, that you're going to have a lot of people just gassed. So attacking late into the race after a ton of attacks or breaks have been unsuccessful is a pretty good way to get one in a break and make it successful. All right, so when you're in the break, you want to keep it smooth, right? So you do want to keep your pace nice and smooth. If you don't have a power meter, it can get a little bit difficult, but just off feel, just try to keep a sustained pace. The most efficient way to go fast would be to just have a solid, hard, fast pace the entire time versus a lot of surging, going really fast, slow down, go fast, slow down, because that's what the peloton's going to be doing. So you want to try to have just this really consistent, smooth, full gas effort. Don't surge. So if you're in a breakaway with guys, you're going to have this feeling of like, oh, I need to do my part. And so when it's your turn to go to the front, you're going to want to try to ramp up the pace. But don't do that. Don't surge off the front, because especially the guy on the front has just made a pull and he's probably going 80 or 90% or even 100%. I mean, he's just going all in. And then if you come up by him and surge, he might not be able to get back on your wheel, or he's going to have to just go completely in the red to get back onto the group. And that's a real surefire way to make guys not want to take a pull or lose your breakaway fellers. And you're going to need people to work together to make it to the end. So don't surge. If you're in a breakaway, and you've got some time on the peloton, like I'm not saying like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, but if you've got like 30, 40 seconds, and you've been out there for a little while, man, go all in, like just completely dump it, right? Because for the most part, when you get caught, you're not going to have the effort to sprint for the finish anyway, right? You're probably not going to do very well. So this is going to be a really good chance for you to be as, super successful. So go all in. I mean, just don't save anything. Like when I'm in a breakaway, I'm always trying to say to myself, like when I get caught, I'm going to have nothing. I'm done. I'm out of the race, right? I mean, that's how much effort I'm trying to put in when I'm in a breakaway. But with that being said, don't waste energy in a breakaway that is doomed. So what happens sometimes is a breakaway may only get like 5 or 10 seconds, and the peloton will just let them kind of fry out there. And be going at a pace where at any moment they can catch the breakaway, but they're just going to let these guys cook themselves. So there are times where if you look back and the group is right there, and you don't really feel confident in the break, don't waste your energy trying to force something that's not going to work. Drop back to the group, save your energy, and look for another move that's going to work. Let's talk about the success rate of breakaways, right? This is kind of based on what I've seen in my area in races. But if you're a Cat 5, the chances of a breakaway succeeding are probably like 2 to 5%. I mean, it's very, very low because usually there's not a whole lot of guys in Cat 5s. And so what happens is they, it's a breakaway. It's not really a breakaway. It's just like a split in the field or something like that. But in the Cat 5, everyone is so afraid of a breakaway working that everyone chases, right? It's just no one's going to let anything go. Everyone's going to mark every move. Cat 4, you probably have more like a 10% chance of breakaways succeeding, but still you got really inexperienced guys. So they don't ever let anything go. They'll chase their own teammates usually, right? They just don't have the race tactics down quite a bit. In Cat 3, the success rate is going to be a little bit better. You're probably looking at like 10 to 15%, somewhere around there, maybe 10 to 20% success rate of breakaways in Cat 3. In Pro 1-2s, even though the pace is extremely high, breakaways are actually much more likely. And in my area, I would say it's about 30 to 40% likely a breakaway is going to work, just because you have all of the teams. And so when a breakaway gets together with the right makeup and it's maybe got teams represented, people just shut it down. They don't even pedal in the peloton, right? They'll just stop riding altogether. And what will end up happening is if the right breakaway gets up the road, man, they'll just let that breakaway come and lap the field usually. Or if it's in a road race, I mean, they'll get huge time gaps because it's their teammate. They're not going to do an ounce of work to chase them down.